There we go. We are here. Welcome, 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 returning and new subscribers. I am Goddess High Priestess Empress Avila Bandera. Welcome all to the vibes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. May you all be well, okay? The new moon in Gemini, Saturn is in Aries. Let me give y'all a few to get the notification that we are live before we get started. Oh, wow, it's beautiful. Let's get our incense on. Setting the record straight. There's a reason for this smirk too, okay? Because the energy right now is one of the uninitiated fucking around and finding out. And what I mean by initiated, it's someone who is aware, understands, and is living their purpose prior to incarnation, and knowing of their purpose prior to coming into this realm. So you go through the forging and the fire in order for you to connect with what it is your purpose is. And what I mean by the uninitiated is those who want to play around with those who are aware of what their purpose is and living in that. Do you know the consequences for someone who is ignorant and lack knowing of, first and foremost, emotional intelligence, to then secondly, know how to express themselves or respond to someone who knows their purpose and living their purpose at that. But I'm gonna wait for y'all to get up in here into this live before we, you know what I'm saying? Some people are gonna wish that they could take back what they said. Should have thought about that shit before you said it. Should have thought about that before you said it. And with this new moon in Gemini, it's one of first cutting out the BS, the bullshit, especially after the previous new moon and the new moon prior to that, Taurus, where you plant the seeds for growth and abundance, things that are earthy, things that are tangible, that you want to see grow in the physical. When you step into that Gemini, new moon in Gemini, you're now working with Mercury, you're working with the mind, you're working with the air. But when it comes to that air element, you're looking at swords. So the first thing that's happening is cutting the BS out that's in the way of what it is that you're manifesting into this physical realm. Now with Saturn going into Aries, on top of that, before that, we gonna get into it. Because if you look at the way that Saturn closed out in the sign of Pisces, which is represented in the tarot by the Eight of Cups. When you look at the way Saturn was closing out in the sign of Pisces, this was, let's say, around between the 22nd and the 24th. You let me make sure y'all can hear me. Let me see. Okay, yeah. Call came in. Okay. When you look at the way that Saturn was closing out in the sign of Pisces, some of you may have seen the the final part of what it is that you had to close out a certain energy, where you had to close out on a certain energy or frequency. And this may have been something that it was more so, yeah, it was more so energetic, because Pisces would, you're speaking beyond the physical realm. So this could be something where you have an involvement of entities, but then there's also where those who are not aware of how their body can be used or how their mind can be used to move against one who is initiated or one who is aware of their purpose, it can be very detrimental for that vessel, especially if they have partial knowledge of what it means to be tapped in or connected to source, the universe, or these different modalities that one can use in order to thrive in this world physically and spiritually. 7:37 on the time, 3:10 on the clock. So people are going to have to, you know what I'm saying? There's a certain group of energy that's going to know what it means to fuck around and find out when they are really messing with those that are living their purpose, on purpose, with purpose. Especially when one is in service of the collective, has already done things to assist the collective in shifting, as that is part of their mission and purpose. But let's get into what's really going on, because yeah, it's quite a bit. It is quite a bit going on. So first and foremost, we had Saturn go into Aries, right? On the 24th. I'm gonna make sure I have this on mute. Do I? Yeah, I do. Perfect. Now, it'll be in this sign of Aries. It'll spend some time in the first decan of Aries. I'll say probably, let me look at this correctly, but it entered Aries on the 24th, and it'll spend some time in the first decan of Aries. You can look at that as the Two of Wands, which is a Mars and Aries card. It'll spend some time there because of the retrograde period that it'll have, going back first and foremost into Pisces, July 13th to the 1st of September, after which you'll have it go back into Aries on the 14th as it's coming out of that retrograde, being in Pisces once it goes back direct. Then it'll retrograde again while it's in Aries between October 8th and the 9th of December of 2026. And it'll be in that first decan of Aries, let's say from the 10th of December up until the 29th of January of 2027. Now, what you want to look at when we're speaking of Saturn and Aries, what are we talking about here? Well, when it comes to Saturn being in this sign, or Saturn in general, you're speaking of the keeper of karma, time, discipline, and embodiment. The steps that will be taken when it comes to who you are, that I am, is going to be unfolding for you while Saturn is in Aries. You can also look at what that means for you, obviously based off your rising sign, but I would also suggest getting familiar with your Mars energy, because with Saturn in Aries, the ruler of Aries is Mars. So you'll be able to see what structures are being built while Saturn is in Aries based on what your Mars sign is, what your Mars energy is in, 11:22 on the time. Okay. So while Saturn is in Aries, it's considered the test of the first ray of will and power, in alignment of divine will with personal action. While Aries governs the head center, the crown chakra, esoterically, where spiritual impressions first enter, Saturn here becomes the guardian of mental clarity, energetic willpower, and spiritual alignment with the higher self. So first of all, when you're talking about stepping into your power and overcoming lessons of karma, clarity is going to be the first thing that you want to have as you embark on this journey of that I am energy. Okay. Now, with Saturn entering Aries, it marks a return to divine origin, where spirit individuates through action, where soul steps fully into flesh. Spiritually, this is a root chakra to crown chakra initiation, grounding cosmic purpose through sovereign embodiment. Here you are asked to remember your cosmic lineage, ignite your inner flame, and lead not just for yourself, but as a living expression of universal order. Spiritual warriors rise during this transit, not by attacking, but by embodying peace as power, structure as safety, and divine law as liberation. So this is why I'm saying this is that type of vibe with the new moon in Gemini and Saturn entering Aries, that this is really the recipe of, you fuck around with this one who knows who they are and living their purpose, you're going to find out. And it's not something you want to find out. Okay? So when it comes to how this is playing out for you all in each of your signs, this is how it's going to look, okay? This is how Saturn is going to be playing out. So you can listen to this for first your rising sign, which is your embodiment, followed by your moon sign, connecting to your emotions, but also the home or the roots of something. And then you can look at the sun energy as purpose, also something in connection to the way you are being possibly guided to even transmute certain things that may have been uncomfortable from the father aspect or paternal aspect, but utilizing it to connect to your life purpose. But all in general, it could really connect to your immortal spirit and your destiny and purpose in this life. So you can even, as we're going through each sign, you can even put together the different archetypes of your rising, moon, and sun, as far as where Saturn is going to be basically your martial arts teacher as you develop into this embodiment of what this energy is. So for Aries rising, Saturn in Aries, for Aries rising, this is where Saturn is helping you to ignite that you are the flame. So Aries, it's saying, I am the flame. Your quantum role would be soul forging. Your esoteric lesson is the right use of your willpower. And your metaphysical activation has to do with the rebirth through embodied fire. With Saturn returning to your sign Aries, delivering initiations around authentic power. It's delivering initiations around authentic power. This is a karmic reckoning of ego versus essence. You're being called to embody the archetype of the first flame, not as a destroyer, but as a divine architect. What you initiate now becomes law in your field. Time bends around your action. Lead consciously. For Taurus, the archetype is for Taurus, I am the earthquake, quantum role, shadow transmuter, esoteric lesson, detachment from form, metaphysical activation, psychic armor from the ancestors. Saturn in Aries activates your 12th house, Taurus. Your unconscious soul contracts and hidden fears that has to do with the 12th house. So Saturn in Aries for Taurus, it's in your 12th house of your unconscious soul contracts and hidden fears. It's a period of karmic release where the fire of Aries burns away old illusions. You'll awaken healing gifts buried for lifetimes. The quantum field asks you to master energetic sovereignty. What you allow in, Taurus, stays in. Gemini, I am the signal. When Saturn enters Aries, Gemini, the archetype you're speaking of, is I am the signal. Your quantum role, Gemini, Sun, Moon, Horizon, frequency transmitter. Your esoteric lesson, alignment of voice and vibration. Your metaphysical activation, leadership through divine message. Gemini, this Saturn in Aries is in your 11th house. Saturn demands spiritual discernment in community. Quantumly, your words become architecture. You're activating networks of light, but must guard against scattering your frequency. Your esoteric growth lies in claiming sacred speech, transmitting divine will through alignment, not charisma. Cancer, Sun, Moon, Horizon. Saturn in Aries is in your 10th house. Your quantum role is the architect of soul legacy. Your esoteric lesson, emotional mastery through discipline, metaphysical activation, ancestral karmic leadership. Cancer, Sun, Moon, Horizon. Saturn ignites your 10th house, bringing divine karmic accountability in your career and public life. You are becoming a lighthouse of embodied emotional wisdom. The quantum invitation to lead without losing your softness. Build what will outlast your body. Anchor the new earth frequency through soulful structure. Leo, Saturn in Aries. Saturn in Aries for you, Leo, it'll be in your 9th house. And the archetype energy states, I am the sun sword. I love that. Leo, your quantum role while Saturn is in Aries is the flame of cosmic wisdom. So when we let me pause for a bit, because when we're talking about this quantum role, this is where you and Saturn would be going through training. So whatever comes up after that quantum role, this is where Saturn is going to be training you, okay? So your quantum role, Leo, is the flame of cosmic wisdom. Your esoteric lesson is having an awareness of your service to divine will. Your metaphysical activation, expansion through disciplined self-realization. With Saturn in your 9th house, Leo, this initiates you into divine law and spiritual philosophy. You're not just learning, you're integrating. Quantumly, your timeline will collapse until only truth remains. This is a sacred purge of false beliefs. You're called to teach, but only once you've surrendered to being taught by spirit first. Okay? I'm also getting for Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, whether this is natal or progress. Also be mindful as to the way Spirit speaks to you, because you may encounter false prophets type of energy. Okay. Virgo, Saturn in Aries is in your 8th house, and it says, I am the alchemist. Quantum role is the purifier of power. Esoteric lesson, surrender of control. Metaphysical activation, initiation through sacred trust. With Saturn in your 8th house, Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, Saturn activates death, rebirth, and energy exchange. Karmic debts surface to be alchemized. This is quantum intimacy. How much of your soul can you reveal without losing center? That's a big one here, Virgo, okay? Especially if you're a Virgo rising. If there's something that doesn't pan out your way, be very mindful as to how you react to the situation, because you alchemizing a certain karmic debt may be more intense than it even has to be. Okay, especially when you're going through the lessons with Saturn of being an alchemist. So you got to be be very mindful. Okay, I'm only saying that because I've already seen how. Anyway, esoterically, you're learning the power of vulnerability as a spiritual precision. Mm, 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 mm. This is a very strong time for you, Sun, Moon, Rising, Virgos. Okay, very strong time. Transmute obsession into devotion. Let's continue. Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I feel as though that's going to come out so much. This is going to be one of them long lives. So you may want to get you, your pen and paper, your teas, your coffees, whatever you do. But we're going to be here for a while. Okay? Because we just talking about Saturn and Aries right now. We haven't even gotten to... Anyway, Libra, Saturn and Aries for you is in your 7th house. And your mantra or archetype energy says, I am the divine balance. Your quantum role, initiator of soul contracts. Before I continue with Libra, you may also want to look into where the energy of Athena is in your chart, what house it's in, because that can also help you with that as well. Your quantum role is the initiator of soul contracts. Your esoteric lesson is sacred union without codependence. Your metaphysical activation, the karma of reflection. With Saturn in your 7th house, every relationship becomes a spiritual mirror. Contracts will complete, soulmates will appear or dissolve. You are learning quantum harmony, where balance is not 50-50, but presence and self-honoring. You must choose you, Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, not out of selfishness, but soul clarity. And there's nothing right or wrong about being selfish. It's just what it is. You are putting yourself back to a position of being yourself, something as self, because you have overpoured into situations where you have lost yourself. So when it comes to you choosing you now with this esoteric lesson, okay, with you becoming divine balance where all Saturn is in Aries, make sure the choices that you make that have to do with you choosing you is based off of soul clarity. So this would be once you get back to yourself and you're no longer moving from filling your cup up to be self, that decision that you make, having that soul clarity, having that full-on mental clarity about, okay, now you are fully yourself. Now these are the decisions you make based off of that. Scorpio, Saturn and Aries in your 6th house. The quantum role for you, Scorpio, first and foremost, your mantra or archetype energy for this is I am the sacred depth. Quantum role, embodied healer, especially if you're a Scorpio rising, because your rising sign has a lot to do with the energy that you do embody. So if you're a Scorpio rising, your quantum role is showing up here very strongly as the embodiment of what you are asking to connect to at this time, the embodied healer. It's time for you to embody the healer, especially Scorpio rising. Esoteric lesson, ritualize discipline for the sacred body. So what you do what you're focused on, what you're ambitious about. Be very mindful of that as you are building building the foundation for your sacred body. Your metaphysical activation, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Horizon. Metaphysical activation, energy, hygiene, and spiritual structure. With Saturn and Aries in your sixth house, Scorpio, Saturn turns daily life into divine ritual. This is not about perfection, but intentional embodiment. Quantum shifts happen when your body becomes the altar. I have this as a natal placement, Saturn in the sixth house. So everything you do is literally, it literally becomes a ritual. And once you have the understanding of how powerful that is or how much it shifts your reality, oh baby. Each act, brushing your teeth, cleaning space, is a spell. Structures become your shield. Health, service, and habits are karma-laced initiations. Wow. Scorpio, you got a big one. I'm glad you're here because that's, something I have natally, Saturn in the sixth. Anyway, although it's in Capricorn. But anyway, Saturn and Aries for Sagittarius. You become the arrow. So with all of these signs, already you can see that the I am, what's coming up after I am, is basically the natural archetype of that sign. So for Sagittarius, Saturn is in your fifth house. Your mantra or archetype energy says, I am the arrow. So Saturn is helping you to recognize, oh, you the arrow, okay? Your quantum role is flame of inspired vision. Your esoteric lesson, authentic expression over inflated ideals. Your metaphysical activation, Sagittarius, is creative sovereignty and divine play. With Saturn in your fifth house, it demands refined creation. This is the end of performative joy. You are being asked to create from soul truth, not applause. So do whatever it is that your soul tells you to do. Fuck what anybody got to say about it, Sag. Okay? Okay. Love is not a game. It's a prayer. Quantumly, you're rewriting inner child timelines. Your joy must now be earned through presence and purity. Be more than okay with being present in your most pure and authentic form, Sagittarius. Okay. Capricorn, Saturn and Aries in your fourth house. Mantra, archetype, I am the mountain's core, Capricorn. Your quantum role, Earth, temple, guardian. I love that for Capricorn. I really do. Your quantum role, Earth, temple, guardian. Your esoteric lesson, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Horizon. Healing generational control through the metaphysical activation of ancestral reparenting. Capricorn, the architecture, the karmic architecture of your family is under divine review. Because with Saturn in your fourth house, it digs deep into your foundation, lineage, and inner child. You're being asked to become your own root system. Now, Saturn, travels through each sign for about 2.5 years. 2 years, right? This is going to be Capricorn, especially y'all, okay? If you are going through situations already with family, just remember this, that the karmic architecture of your family is under divine review. You're being asked to become your own root system. Home must become a sacred womb. Quantumly, you are reprogramming base frequency trauma. It's time to build your sanctuary. Aquarius, Saturn and Aries in your third house. So this new moon is highly significant for you, especially rising, Aquarius risings. Your mantra or archetype while Saturn is in Aries: I am the star's breath. Your quantum role is the light weaver of thought, Aquarius. Your esoteric lesson: integrity of mind and message through the metaphysical activation of reality bending speech. You got to trust this. This shouldn't be so much of a challenge if you are a true Aquarius and you know what that means to be an Aquarius. It shouldn't be a challenge for you to tap into your authentic expression, because it may have been something you've already been doing. This would be different for somebody who is an Aquarius but are unaware of the Aquarian qualities that they have. Where they're now, these are the ones that can literally trip out, unfortunately, because they're not aware that their speech literally bends fucking reality. But if you know, use it wisely. Because your esoteric lesson is integrity of mind and message. Don't go out here moving out of integrity and you fuck up your own shit. I'm just saying. 31, 33 all the time. So listen. Saturn moves to your third house, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. Refining communication, thinking, and perception. This is where language becomes a spell. You're being trained to wield your voice with the weight of Saturn. Every word builds or breaks. Don't break your own ass now, okay? Quantumly, you're awakening a sacred scribe frequency. Speak from your soul, Aquarius, or don't say anything at all. Ooh, for those of y'all with Uranus and Aquarius, that generation, y'all better watch yourself. Mess around with this Pluto and Scorpio generation. Y'all gonna get your ass cooked. Anyway, because I've been seeing that shit. And welcome to the Pantera Soul Fam. Greetings, Goddess Fatima C. It's always a pleasure to have you, my dear. Pisces, Saturn and Aries in your second house. It was just you. It was just in your sign. So now it's moving to the house of value, finances, and things of that shabang around. The mantra, Pisces, or archetype: I am the mystic's root. Pisces, Sun, Moon, Horizon. You are the mystic's root. Us Cancers, rising, I'm a Cancer rising. We are the cosmic root. Pisces, you are the mystic's root. Your quantum role, Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, is manifester of dreams into Earth. Now remember, the previous full moon that we just had in Taurus, it was sitting in your ninth house, right? Where it was telling y'all not to be afraid of being a seer, being a mystic teacher, oracle, or seer, not being afraid of that. Because you may have been triggered with past life persecution or some type of trauma while the full moon was in Scorpio at 22 degrees. But now that we are in this phase of Saturn going into Aries and a new moon in Gemini, where you're now planting new seeds of the way you even process this information, or the information that has been brought up to you since that full moon, with, let me go over here, I went too far. With Saturn and Aries, it is in your second house. So your role is to be the manifestor of dreams into Earth. Your esoteric lesson is embodiment of self-worth. And this is happening through the metaphysical activation of divine stewardship of resources. So with Saturn in your second house, Pisces, It teaches you the karma of value, what you own, what you give, and how you ground. You're being asked to materialize the mystical. You came from Saturn being in Pisces, embodying that energy. Now it's time for you to bring it out, basically. Quantum wealth flows not from fantasy, but energetic worthiness. Saturn wants you to earn your magic through presence. Everything becomes sacred economy for Pisces. Okay? So, that's the gist of Saturn being in Aries for each sign. Okay? But overall, this has to do with the reforging of the self. Aries is the spark, Saturn is the forge. Together they forge the spiritual ego through trials that burn away the false self. This transit catalyzes a return to your original essence, stripping layers of projection, distraction, and inherited karma. Now, this is when Saturn enters Aries. Now, with the new moon in Gemini, this new moon is perfect to use with, cutting out these falsehoods or people misusing your name or misusing who you are, or people that come around and then when they don't get fully everything that they want from you, they want to sit here and possibly slander you, not knowing that there are consequences for that, grave ones. But yes, cutting out, this false reality that people have of you, return back to sender type shit, but it's more so where you are protecting yourself and dissolving all of that nonsense so that way you can, plant this seed of a new frame of mind, okay? So that way you can see your vision clearer. Metaphysically, this is the moment the soul meets its sword, a sacred sword of clarity, courage, and responsibility. Every thought becomes a decree, every action a manifestation. This is divine masculine refinement, courage with consequence, impulse with integrity. All right, so quantumly, Saturn in Aries collapses outdated identity timelines. You may feel disoriented and linear understandings of who you are dissolve rapidly. That includes people with disoriented ideals about you or who you are. This is why I said at the very beginning, setting the record straight when it comes to those that are uninitiated, and speaking to the word initiation as someone who remembers their mission, their role before coming into this realm and is living that purpose on purpose with purpose. Anyone that goes against that, Aries as the first sign activates quantum emergence, new timelines of action, embodiment, and leadership you haven't yet conceived. Saturn brings coherence to the quantum field. Your intentions must match your vibrational integrity. You cannot think one way and act another without repercussions. The field will mirror you instantly with Saturn and Aries, okay? So old templates of survival-based action, fight or flight, are being transmuted into soul-led presence, where instinct becomes intuitive power. That's basically the gist there of that Saturn and Aries, where that impulsive way of doing things, it happens with more integrity and it connects you more to your intuitive power. All right, so congratulations to those of y'all who with Saturn and Pisces, you just completed your Saturn return. Man. So once again, with Saturn and Aries, this is where the soul steps fully into flesh. Those without a soul. Now, when we say those without a soul, we're not talking about the way someone appears. We're just talking about the essence. Either you have a soul or you don't. Those without one. And this is a time period of where the soul steps fully into the flesh. There will be a dissolving of those with just spirits. I see a whole lot of purple over here. So that violet flame energy is coming through over here, because I do have some candle work going on right here. okay? Of cutting out the gossip, the lies, the betrayals, and anything that has to be siphed out, so that way there could be a new way of planting the seeds of your newfound way of thinking, your newfound way of connecting with your thoughts with clarity, okay? So 40:04 on the timer. The channeled message for Saturn and Aries: you are not here to borrow courage from others. You are the flame. You are the beginning. You are the architecture of will and time of great awakening. Saturn now measures the pulse of your purpose. Step forward, not for war, but for embodiment. The time is now to wear the crown of I am. And that works beautifully. That meshes beautifully with heavy is the head that wears the crown. Because in order for you to wear that crown, you have to have that strength, that solid structure to wear that crown. So, Saturn in Aries, the entire transit is from May 24th, 2025 up until April 12th of 2028. Where actually on the 12th, it enters Taurus. Exits Aries to enter Taurus on the 12th. So yes, there's quite a bit going on, y'all, okay? We're now about to get into what we here for. We here for all of it. But we about to get into this new moon and Gemini vibes, okay? I don't know, some of y'all may have seen the pre-pull, but when we look at Gemini, right? It's ruled by Mercury, governs communication, ideas, movement, and curiosity. Now, with it being at a 6th degree, which is that Virgo degree, to connect more towards also to harmony, nurturing, creative restoration, analyzation, that Virgo type of vibes, habits, also that ritual type of energy. Now, if you haven't, just go check out the community tab where you get, you know what I'm saying, that pre-pull reading. We'll see how that ties into this reading. Everything tends to always come full circle over this way, so we gonna see what's up. Now, with the new moon in Gemini at 6 degrees, these are themes of divine communication, mental rewiring, inner child expression, and soul reorientation through curiosity and breath. Before we get into each of these signs, let's get into some of the card pull messages because I want to see what the vibe is here. But I'm going to go through the themes before we do anything else. Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This is in your 3rd house. Your key themes is sacred expression, soul siblings. Taurus, it's in your 2nd house of worth, wealth, and rewritten value. Gemini, it's in your 1st house of rebirth of self. Cancer, it's in your 12th house of dream cleansing and inner sanctuary. Leo, this is in your 11th house of vision, which themes are collective mission and divine collaborations. We are currently in the moon hour 2. Virgo, this is in your 10th house of soul authority and higher calling. Libra, this is in your 9th house of expanding the mind and soul codes. Scorpio, this new moon in Gemini is in your 8th house of intimacy, alchemy, and shared power. Sagittarius, this new moon in Gemini is in your 7th house of sacred union and mirror portals. Capricorn, this new moon is in your 6th house of soul habits and temple renewal. Aquarius, this is in your 5th house of joy, art, and love, creativity, inner child, and sacred pleasure. Pisces, this is in your 4th house of root healing and soul foundation, illuminating home, ancestors, and emotional safety. So if you're Pisces, especially y'all risings, calling on your ancestors during this new moon in Gemini to assist you in being rooted and grounded in what your truth is. Beautiful moment to do so. Not this candle wick over here in the shape of a 9. Can y'all see that? That joint is in the shape of a 9. Do you want to talk about that shit is done? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, praise is due to the Most High. We just flow over here. We just do what we do. We have the information. We pour the information. We give, and we take what resonates, my love. That's wild. Mm-hmm. 1550 on the clock. 1550. Gratitude for the gifts, y'all. What do you have for the collective here? Very precise. just shifted, as you can tell. In 1 second. Something about fairy circles. Okay. The one, there's 4 cards, but one is turned over. We have spiritual wound, warrior lineage, ancestors, ring of fire, 322, Archangel Raphael, refining heart to bring mind, body, and soul as one. Seven. And destiny swap. Any attempts of destiny swap, justice is now here due to the ancestors protecting you. Ring of fire. As you've been going through the purification of a spiritual wound, possibly from a past life, where what you were doing, you were possibly persecuted as something that is not true. However, in this lifetime, you're being asked to step fully into your purpose. And anyone who attempts to belittle you, justice is here. No more stalling. The clock has been reset. This is that energy too of the new moon in Gemini for sure. It's a major reset. Where you're utilizing both sides or duality of cutting out what no longer serves you fully, especially with that Mercury energy. It's when it comes to the clearing of falsehood or things that were an attempt to destroy you. Mercury, day, hour, moon in a Mercury type of sign is one you can utilize to get to the bottom of it. So let me see. While also bringing forth clarity and abundance and harmony into your life. Gratitude for the Sunday. Mm. 133, 1033, divine guidance around you now. Harness the energy of the planet. Be one with source and ground those roots. And we were just talking about Mercury. Got a sensation here where if one with wings, that could be one of the entry points or the points where wings come out. Definitely felt the energy there. So divine guidance surrounds you now, surrounds this collective at this time as we're doing this reading. Now I'm seeing where there's basically this protective bubble. Okay. Where access is being denied and divine judgment is placed. You deserve this. What's at the bottom? I'm calling you. Mercury. What's this? Never get in the way of an ancient dragon soul. I'm telling you, this energy is one of planting the seeds, but It's also one of, if you're planting new crops during Taurus season or the new moon in Taurus, around this time, when you look at the Farmer's Almanac, is when you literally cut out the weeds and shit. 5445 on the screen. Even similar when a woman in her pregnancy, let's say those, you know, those the last part of it, last 3 months or so, when one would really go through that incubation process of being more, even more mindful as to what one is surrounded by before giving birth to it. This could be a process of where, you know, that mother may cut out certain situations and people for good, especially with all the energy that's coming through with being with child. Clearing out this space before the new comes. Mercury here, look at this one. Sekhmet Bastet showing up, goddess of war and the destroyer of all enemies of the sun god Ra. Mercury, the brain, instructs the rest of the body and your thoughts. This is the time of reclaiming your power. You may have been seeing the number 414. This is the time of reclaiming your power while your gifts are enhancing and for others reactivating, or both. Not this paper hitting the bell. Human design, soul attraction. Human design, soul attraction. There could be some sort of magnetic pull of divine recognition. Also going on, vibrational alignment between two or more souls. Doesn't have to be a lover or family, could just be that in it, what it is. A vibrational alignment between two or more souls whose frequency harmonized due to shared lessons, karmic bonds, divine timing, or higher agreements. It is not always of love. It may show up in people you called friends, mentors, adversaries, or sacred counterparts. There she goes. Mentioned her earlier. Who was that for? When it comes to the mirror of soul contracts, seeing where she is in your chart, it's for that energy came through the divine bound Libra. Oh yeah, duh. Something new is happening. That's for sure. That commercial was on point. Clear out the foundation of all beliefs and re-energize your soul in accordance to a heart as light as a feather. 333-444-222-111. Clear out the foundation. Working with Saturn and Aries. Remembering the archetype. Message from the beginning. Let's see. Ooh-wee. There could have been a soul contract that actually helped you to heal a spiritual wound. A soul attraction that helped you heal the spiritual wound. For some of you, this could have been a marriage too, because Ancestors Ring of Fire card, the only word that's showing there is ring. Solar contract, this soul contract, ring, or Saturn. Something having to do with Saturn. Be mindful of what it is you're conscious of. Saturn day, working with Saturn's day to help with your activations of your quantum role with Saturn and Aries. You have here spiritual connection, Saturn, Neptune, Vertex, and Juno. Yeah, for sure. A fated gateway connected to a sacred union that helped you to see beyond the illusions, where you also became the wise elder. We have moon cycle. We're in a new moon now. Never underestimate silence of the god or goddess for non-action. There could be an energy here where you may have blocked someone and they thought all is well because you blocked them. Nah, all hell about to break loose on that ass for fucking around. But in a way of doing it from a space of clearing out the energy, not from revenge. They would wish it was from revenge because it'll be a lighter type of ass whooping. But when you're doing it from clearing out the energy, 404 on the time, 6111 on the timer. When you're talking about clearing out the energy, not from a revenge standpoint, now you're pulling that shit from the root. Now you're pulling that shit from the root. Most High. Mercury, Solomonic lineage. I'm telling you, that Wednesday detail that we were just talking about has to do with the keys of Solomon. And Mercury shows up. Fucking plane up here. Let me tell you something. See if I find it. Yo. That might be it. I'm not going to spend too much time looking for this, but you're getting justice. 1606 on the thing right there. A whole entire notification. It says you're getting justice. It's not funny, but this is what I be talking about when people want to be sitting out here and don't think about what they say before they say it. Okay. Like it says, never underestimate silence for non-action. When you are someone, again, who is living their purpose, whether you're an oracle seer, you call yourself a mystic, the candle just went out too. You call yourself a mystic, high priest, high priestess, and then you got somebody who wants to disrespect your purpose, and you go silent, 6355, 955 energy. Oh, you see what it say there? Time is up. Because for some, this could be something that's been happening over and over and over again. And motherfucker think this shit's funny. Motherfucker think this shit's funny. Until they really see how tapped in you are with Source, Most High, whatever it is you want, whatever title you want to give it. Check the planetary hour. Where we at? When we were starting this live, it was in the moon hour. And we, godly, Saturn. We are currently in the Saturn's hour, 4:07. This shit is precise action of an emperor energy, taking one's power back. 4:07 just went to 4:08. The pale horse, which is the horse of death. The fourth horseman. Overall, this has to do with transcendence, rebirth, liberation from form. The shadow aspect of this energy is resistance to change, fear of mortality, or nihilism. The pale horse and its rider, death, are not just about ending. They symbolize initiation into the mystery of transformation. This is the shamanic journey through the underworld, where the soul must release what no longer serves in order to ascend. This is what I mean about those that are living their purpose. This is what I mean by that. When you have gone through this level of transformation, which will be your initiation process, and someone attempts who has not gone through that process or has possibly gotten a taste of it and decides that they want to disrespect you, 6622, oh, all hell will break loose on that ass. We're not talking about life path 11 right now. Let's stay focused on what we're doing here. I knew this shit was gonna come out. I knew it. Grab a message from the Orisha deck. You could be a manifester, which is the energy of the pioneer, speaking life into existence. Communication is key. Happiness on your own. Happiest on your own, but you also thrive with support. If you are a manifester, you not being in yourself is when you step into the mode of anger, because anger indicates there's something you have to speak up about, or your next step is not self-directed and out of alignment of your intended purpose or your why. This is the way it is. Someone will be placed in the void for trespassing. So this is someone possibly, you know, who disrespects someone on their, that's living on purpose and in their purpose, placed into a position to have to undergo transformation all at once and not yet really mature enough to handle what that means. So this could be someone who may experience the energy of the Saturn return way before Saturn, their first Saturn return, because they want to be sitting here and doing things that they ain't supposed to. 411 on a time right now. Your experience is reminding you of who and all that you are. To settle is to stop learning. Let me... Let me grab this here message. What is the message here for the collective? Oh, sure. And message from air with this new moon in Gemini, the air element. Oh, sure. This signifies love, sweetness, and femininity, hidden knowledge, research, and planning, gifts as a medium, hypersensitiveness, psychism, and mentalism. This card represents someone interested in medicine, either heterodox or orthodox, perhaps in social subjects, but generally related to the scientific field. A woman, wife, or girlfriend who will know how to express an opinion without arrogance or aggressiveness, in a quiet manner, subtleness and distinction. Message from air in correlation to that. Ethereal and light, standing on a cloud, this messenger is seen in dreams, perpetuating the endless innocence and purity of birth. You're seeing things here to help you align yourself with the truth or handle a situation. You're seeing it in your dreams before it happens. Ethereal and light, standing on a cloud, this messenger is seen in dreams, perpetuating the endless innocence and purity of birth. She is a fairy that grants wishes and protects creators. That was coming through earlier. That was certainly coming through earlier in terms of something about fairies and circles and the shift of time. So you're seeing something before it happens. So there's for some of you, that's that your sensitivity, you're seeing where your sensitivity is a power, it's not a weakness. She drives her heavenly magic from one hand to the other, closing a wonderful circle of creation with tinkling and shining stars. Her inspiring muse is clearly seen in the halos that fall toward earth in the form of staves with notes of a future melody. This could even be music too. This could even be music too. And when you think of something, the same way that commercial just came up before Clear Out the Foundation, Shorty said something new was coming or something new is happening. Be more aware of the communication that's coming through sound, okay? Or through the airwaves. They will reach a bohemian musician who will know how to combine them and become a great artist for the joy and enjoyment of many people. The fine and crystalline movements do not deprive her of security, courage, and action. The sylphs were part of her childhood in many tales. Fairies were described as having protective streaks, granting wishes, and neutralizing the actions of malefactors. So you got fairies around you? There's an energy of fairies. Oh, shit. Okay. So, 416. What the fuck? Because that number has been consistent the past 3 days, 3 lucid moments. 416 been showing up. And it shows up here when I'm with y'all. So let's look at all this. That's why I said take your notes so you can see what story, what message is directly for you based on what you're taking notes on. 416. It suggests that the hard work and effort you have put into your endeavors will have long-term benefits for you and your loved ones, and you are encouraged to keep up the amazing work. Know that your needs will be met due to your diligence and determination to achieve and succeed. Give any anxieties or worries to your angels and focus your energies upon your soul urgings and pursuing your divine life purpose. It's also a message from your angels that your prayers and positive affirmations will help to improve all circumstances and situations in your life. The angels are helping you to clear away and heal anxieties, concerns, and limiting belief patterns in regards to your material and monetary issues. Stay focused upon your life's work and soul mission, and you will manifest an abundant supply of all your monetary and material needs will be met. Stay positive in attitude and outlook to rapidly manifest positive outcomes and results. Let go of fears and allow abundance to freely enter your life. You, not that shit. I mean, yes, but it says you deserve it. All your material supplies are met in divine order while you focus on giving to the world with your natural talent, skills, and interests. So, new moon in Gemini. You can manifest those finances by, setting those affirmations as it is that you have whatever it is that you seek. You state those affirmations as you already having that. Okay? So, let's look at each sign and your affirmation with this new moon. Aries, affirmation for you, based on it being your third house. My voice is a spell of liberation and divine clarity. Taurus, with it in your second house. I root into abundance aligned with my highest truth. Gemini, with it in your first house. I give myself full permission to become who I truly am. Cancer, with this energy in your 12th house. I honor the unseen and allow spirit to restore me. This is not the time to be messing with no Cancer rising. Fuck around and finding out is all I'm gonna say. Leo, 11th house. I align with soul kin who uplift my sacred mission. Virgo, with it in your 10th house. I take inspired steps to embody my sacred purpose. Libra, with it in your 9th house, the new moon. I am a channel for divine wisdom across space and time. Scorpio, within your 8th house, I transmute shadow into sacred light and soul intimacy. Sagittarius, with this new moon in your 7th house, I attract and anchor relationships that honor my evolution. Capricorn, in the 6th house, new moon in your 6th house, affirmation. I cultivate rituals that restore my soul and serve the divine. Love that. Aquarius, with this in your 5th house, I create and love with divine innocence and cosmic joy. And Pisces, with this new moon in your 4th house, I anchor myself in sacred belonging and ancestral wisdom. So those are the affirmations based on the signs. It's about to rain. I just heard it. Give me 1 second. More than that. Take your break. We are back. $81.08. Told y'all this gonna be one of them long lives. Because at the same time, as I'm doing these messages, there's a lot of transmuting and transcending that is also happening. So, yeah, the work is getting done. Okay, so yeah, what I was also picking up on while away with these fairies are moving in position or into situations where they're helping with the divine judgment. Which is where that card comes in. Never underestimate silence for non-action, because of the energy around that is supporting, you know what I'm saying? Gemini energy is not playing, that's for sure. That is for sure. Especially with Saturn and Aries. Saturn the Elder in the sign of the warrior is on some... I'm picking up on a vibe of an ancient warrior that is stepping in on your behalf. And those that are unaware of it, where they're coming in to protect you, or they hear of things that are going on that you may not even be around. So much so they'll present you with the situation to see it play out too. For some of it is going to put you in situations, or have put you in situations before Saturn went into Aries, where you're seeing how these energies are going to play out for taking your kindness for weakness, or misaccusing you for something. $83.44 on the time. 11:44 energy. Yep. Coming in to bring in that balance. Especially anyone attempting to destiny swap or to take you off track, because they can't be around anymore. They can't be in your presence anymore, so they're gonna attempt to move in a way to distract you. Telling you, the gossip, the betrayal, the lies, the slandering, that shit is done and over with, and there are consequences for doing that, especially towards a high priest, high priestess, a mystic, a seer, someone that is here, you know what I'm saying, living their purpose, being their purpose, working in alignment with this planet, the cosmos, the galaxies, and beyond. That is not somebody you want to fuck around with, especially if the number one thing, if someone is ignorant, the last and number one thing they don't want to do is have people in their energy to see if who they are, who they say they are. They are literally calling in the energies and the shadow aspect of the pale horse into their life. You be tripping. And if someone says that just to have you feel some type of way, but they're lying, even worse. Even worse. 85:33 on the time. Even worse. What are the fairies doing? They're bringing forth a certain strategy. This is Aquarius. They're bringing forth with Saturn and Aries for Aquarius. This is where what one says bends reality. So the fairies are moving this energy, or the airwaves are moving in ways that is going to bend reality when it comes to those who are in the position of receiving divine judgment because of mishandling someone. High priest, high priestess, God, goddess energy. They didn't recognize the level of divine guidance that is surrounding this type of person. That is a high priest, high priestess, mystic, seer, oracle. Saturn in Libra. Yo. Libra, sun, moon, horizon. This is 7th house energy, but overall, Saturn and Aries for Libra, that frequency of the 7th house. The lesson is sacred union without codependency. So this could be someone who only gets into relationships for others to take care of them. And they may sit here because they don't get what they want. They lie about something or someone. That's your ass. That's your ass. Because there are consequences for that. The Magician, as above, so below. The King of Swords, what are the fairies doing? The King of Swords and the Magician. Yo, I'm hearing words that cut come with a heavy price to pay. If someone attempted to, you know what I'm saying, to have you feel some type of way because they didn't get what they want out of you, only getting into relationships, codependency for money, and they're not independent themselves. That was a 4 of Cups. Wow. The Wheel of Fortune. This is a destined and fated event. Speaking of that spiritual connection card that we have here as well. With Saturn, Neptune, Vertex, and Juno showing up. Because the Vertex is the fated gateway or divine meeting. That reveals wounds of betrayal, abandonment, or disempowered unions. This is on some, if you don't have nothing kind to say, don't say anything at all. And someone really misunderstood what that meant. Look at this shit, the Emperor here at the bottom of the deck. Speaking of precise movement of taking one's power back. And that precise movement had to do with some level of silence. Oh, you're the High Priestess. I'm telling you. They're working, the fairies are working on the behalf of a High Priestess. This is on some shit where somebody thought something was going to pan out a certain way. They get what they want out of someone. And once they get it, they start moving funny or getting real disrespectful, but they don't realize that because of that person's presence, 936 energy on the screen, because of that person's presence in their reality, 433 on the time, once they remove their energy, the fairies move in, and wherever that person thought that they would be okay and things is settled, is done and over with, they can start going back to their shitty ass ways. If there's somebody that has a higher level of judgment, that is placing a higher level of judgment, that has to decide on whether this person has their freedom or not, the fairies are going to be in their ear of their judge on some, This is here now. So they gotta serve for this. This got to be handled. Yeah. The energy of juggling somebody's frequency. Ace of Pentacles and the Strength card come out sideways in the position of they thought something was going to work in their favor. And they thought they could get over on somebody, but they didn't realize who they were attempting to get over on has a real connection to the Most High, has a real connection to Source. And nothing gets taken away from you unless the Most High or Source decides that. Now, for those that are working on behalf as the eyes, as the embodiment, an extension of that, almost literally a scribe or a messenger of what's going on here in this earthly planet, somebody fucked that person over. The one who's here working as a scribe for Source, the Most High. Four of Wands, it could have been something in regards to a relationship. 1111. What's this? Page of Swords. Now, because there's some sort of disconnection or they have no access to you, they're finding ways to see what's going on. Nah, you fucked that up. Royally. Page of Swords, they could be spying. There's another sideways card. Eight of Pentacles. They could have Saturn and Taurus because the way this is showing up here. I'm telling you. This shit is not a game. Not a game. The Pale Horse. Yeah, that was here. Now, with this, if someone mishandled you and you are someone that is highly ranked in the spirit realm, two things occurred here. This is also a situation that places you into your quantum role that you may have been suppressing due to some sort of, you know what I'm saying, some sort of fear or discomfort because of how much power is within it. Where this situation may have happened before where people disrespect you and you don't go into your Psalms or you don't, light a candle to protect your energy in a way that you know you can, that can literally cause chaos in somebody's life. Now, it's not that you give no fucks. It's just now you're stepping into your role, your quantum role. You're going through that activation metaphysically. You're coming out of, these lessons, or with this Saturn and Aries, understanding what your lesson is with this energy, and you're doing exactly what you have to do in order for you to evolve, for you to become that wise one. Not become, to be. Well, you become what it is that you are being. You have became what you're being right now. That really felt as though that was a conversation. Let's say if I was having a conversation with somebody right now, it felt as though that's what was being said. Anyway. So the two reasons, going back to that, it's for you to step into your quantum role, and the other one is to get this energy out of this next level of creation, because they doing too much and they think shit is a game. The Moon. Ten of Cups at the bottom of the deck. And the World card here at the top. Yo, okay. With this Moon card showing up here, first thing I'm getting is that there was this shift in emotions. Someone has a shift. They're out of control with their emotions. They're out of control with their emotions here. They don't even know what true unconditional love is. More than possibly, they have maternal issues or some sort of mother wound or some sort of neglect, maternal neglect, with this Moon card showing up here on top of all of this sideways energy. Which is what makes them codependent with this Eight of Pentacles and this Ace of Pentacles and Nine of Pentacles. It strongly makes them codependent to the point that they don't even realize how codependent they are. Literally, King of Pentacles in reverse. That shit flipped. Somebody could have flipped the script, but when you told them no, or they didn't get what they wanted from you, they flipped the script. But again, with that spiritual connection, this was all designed for you also to bridge the gap, or something in regards to the threshold between childhood and spiritual adulthood, awakening ancestral patterns or past life themes to be resolved in this lifetime. 97:44 on the time. This is the end. This is coming through as this was somebody's last chance and they fucked it up. Somebody's last chance. They literally, all they had to do was take that energy in terms of when somebody told them no and just go about their business, but they decided to run their fucking mouth. Run their fucking mouth about the right one. Greetings, Ocean Goddess. Welcome, honey. This is one of them long lives. Just saying. 441. I want to get some of these cards here. This is the energy of what the fairies are working on. So a lot of what's happening here too, in terms of, you know, this new moon in energy, Gemini, is clearing out the energy of anyone who lacks knowledge, integrity about themselves, and they feel comfortable enough to disrespect collective. They may even call themselves a chosen one, or they may say that they are protected by this and by that. But if you are protected, your ass should not be getting locked up. Your ass should not be coming up with some sickness where you randomly got to get admitted for some shit. People around you should be healthy. If you call yourself protected, you shouldn't have people around you that are, you know what I'm saying? Unless, not even, nope. Where people in their life is literally going to shit. If you call yourself protected, none of that shit should be happening. Nope. And I'm saying that in the sense of those who are the ignorant ones that really talk about here, oh, I'm this, so I'm that. I got this level of protection and that protection. Motherfucker, wasn't you just locked up? And you think this shit is funny? Nah. No. No, no, no. No, 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 baby, no. 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 One never wants to see the wrath of someone who is truly tapped in. You never want to see that type of wrath. Because again, don't mistake silence for non-action. Oh, especially when someone is tapped in and they get the blocking and moving energies out the way. Four, four, four. It's the what's the tea deck. Let's see what this energy's about. Inside scoop, talking shit. I'm telling you, running their fucking mouth. Page of Swords energy, looking to see what's going on. Looking to see shit that I fuck up. Yeah, royally. Yes, she did. Karmic friends, can't fully trust them. They possibly was in secret competition. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Listen. When it comes to someone who's tapped in, connected to source, highly spiritually, highly ranked, we ain't keeping no fucking friends or enemy close. That shit getting dissolved. Heard? That shit getting dissolved. 102.44. Shit getting to remove the fuck up on out of here. We got stalker that came out in reverse. Stalking, watching, obsessed. They could be doing this from a fake page too. Somebody could be looking at someone's Instagram or whatever to see what's going on, to see how badly they might have fucked up. Kissing ass. Somebody could be looking for a way back through to you after they said something real disrespectful. Or some level of betrayal, gossip, or slander. Yeah, you out here too busy winning. Too productive winning. They too busy looking for shit while you out here winning. You're productive winning. While they out here being too busy figuring out ways to win you over. Look, I'm telling you. Someone who gets into relationships for money and then wants to say that, oh, you ain't got this and you ain't got that after you told them no because they can't get what they want from you. Now they want to use the verbiage that speaks about themselves about you. They tripping. Fucking tripping. 104.40. That 144 energy is strong right now. Bad karma comes out in reverse. That's coming up under talking shit, right? But the way it's coming through, they don't see this shit coming because the only other card here that's in reverse, I don't know, confirmation. The only other card here that's in reverse is Stalker. And remember what we just said about this card. This could be someone moving from a different page just to see what's going on. Forget bad karma. This shit is intense. I'm telling you, saying things that they got no business saying. Dirty offer here at the bottom of the deck. Exactly. You offer them your assistance and they move with you in a dirty way afterwards. All that shit getting handled now. 10808. Is that? Well, I saw 108, but it says 106. But it was 10608. But that's getting handled here in this earthly realm. Somebody's going to be feeling that shit through their body. Look at this. This threatening card. Another reverse card coming up under this. Acting as if they're not sad, hurt, or upset for what they did. But, attempted. This could be someone who even attempts to even screen record some shit. And it's actually, and it goes against them for doing so. They don't recognize that you probably got the same information. They could probably claim that they're doing this and they're doing that when you actually have that evidence and they're claiming to have that. Or if they do have that, they don't recognize that having that actually shows where they fucked up too, if they actually were to see it over. Child. Yeah, this crying over you card. Two cards. Ain't shit. Yo, this shit is funny. Ain't shit. And you got Queen rising, so you're coming out of that situation. Let's say, you know, someone fucking you over. It literally puts you in Empress mode. It steps you into your power. And they could have probably said everything to the 5th degree about you not doing this, you not having that, this, you want to do this, how you say you want to do this and you ain't been doing it. It's the same way that people move with Shikari. 10820 on the timer. Judgment. Okay, on triple goddess judgment energy has been called. This is the same type of vibes as Shikari. When people were coming up against her about the allegations towards her, you know what I'm saying, as to why she wasn't on the Olympic team. And then she made the team. Now she got all these deals and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I've recognized the people that I've known as a track and field athlete, how they would express themselves about her. I block all the motherfuckers. I said, y'all just watch and see. That's an Aries first and foremost. She's going to come back. Forget come back. As she says, I'm not back. I'm better. Okay? Return being way better than before, at least emotionally and spiritually, which then also trickles into the physical. And half of the motherfuckers that was sitting there talking shit about her, majority of them, in looking at them now, a majority of them, because I see them in pictures of other people that there is a mutual acquaintance there, looking dried the fuck up, tired. Nothing against having to go to therapy, but had you kept your mouth shut and not follow society and wanting to bash people for whatever it is that they got going on, now look at you now. If something doesn't work out for a person, the best thing to do is just let it be and move on. 1011. Just move on. But the unhealed and the wounded move that way. They want to make you feel what they're feeling. And you can't make someone who is on their journey, living with purpose, feel what you feel, and they not on that. 11033. They have already mastered that to the point that they already know that you're gonna come with that bullshit. They already know you're gonna come with that bullshit. So much so, one of their ancestors already notified you in your dreams about the shit that their little seed is doing. Talking about this new moon in Gemini, Gemini, Mercury energy. Hello. This is access to the lower realms and the higher realms. One, 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 one. Some of them wanted to go low. Some of them about to be taken to fucking hell now. Oh, you wanted to go low. All right. Don't mistake silence for non-action. Because all one has to do. Okay. Ancestors, spirit guides, Psalm 109. We're done here. We're done here. And with Saturn and Aries, it's on some... Aries, it's impulsive. It's the warrior. And Saturn, because it's just stepping into there. And then Neptune is a little further ahead. It's kind of causing this, you know, this little vision issue where it knows what Aries is. It knows Aries can be impulsive. So it's going to do the best it can to settle the shit. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it already knows that Aries about to pop off. 11221 on the timer. What's this? Wolves in sheep's clothing. And Saturn and Aries is going to help the one who is moving with impulsive integrity to handle that ass. That's the type of time we in. Psalm 109 is the truth. That's why I said use discernment when using that, because and it's even more potent when you know the energy that's fucking with you and you say their name. When you know the drama starter and you know and you want to get rid of some shit, Psalm 109. But again, discernment. Do that shit for 7 days. At night. 1:13:11. You enough is enough, because it's too many times where when you know the type of power you have, you know what I'm saying, you let shit slide. Saturn is not in Pisces. And some of them show they ass right at the closing of Saturn in Pisces. Should have thought about doing that shit soon. At least the beginning of May, maybe it would have subsided by the time 24th came and Saturn went into Aries and shit. You know what I'm saying? You probably went 109 that ass. But since a motherfucker won't fuck around and find out, well, here's fuck around and find out on a silver platter. Dumbass. You got here creativity. They could possibly attempt, they probably attempted to steal your ideas, copy your work, or feed off of you. Yeah, fake smiles, fake love. Don't mistake silence for non-action. This is collective right here. Reflecting. Notification. Somebody's curious about what's next. While you all here unbothered, reflecting and unbothered. It's vacation season for the collective. We about to go into a Celtic spread. What's this? Played out. There could be something you love to do that you know you still have the strength to do, and somebody tried to say that you divination, abuse, and possibly somebody knows your purpose and what you're here for, and they probably went to a reader and got misinformed. For one, that will be a literal crime in the spiritual realm, in the sense of getting a reading on someone without their permission. It's the first fucking thing you shouldn't do. Oh, don't let it be a high priest or a high priest you sitting here trying to figure some shit out about. And the more people get in, the person gets involved in this situation, though, the stronger their ass whooping is going to be. You're going to take all them licks that everybody that you involved on top of yours. for messing with someone who is truly connected to source, here on purpose and mission to be of service to the collective. In whatever which way one does it. Fake flexing. Literally out here fucking fake flexing, acting as if they got this and they got that. You ain't got shit. That's why they get into relationships for money and then want to claim that, oh, this person is there for their money. What money? You ain't got no money. Fishing for shit. You about to fucking drown. Carless. You're out of this. What if this is a love triangle? You're out of it now. Third party, multiple lovers choices. Yeah. This energy is not going to be able to move forward the way they move with the divine one. They won't be able to move forward until they really go through the process of transformation and transmutation out of that. And it's going to be quite brutal for whatever this energy is because of who they fucked around and found out with. Especially when someone is fully coming into their power. There's a certain level of protective energy, guardianship that surrounds this person now. That the way that response comes when, you know, the one that they're here to protect is being mistreated it's not a joke. That shit is not to play with. It's really not. Yeah, you're in the process of moving on from this. While someone could be in the back holding a grudge, that's on them. Because they can't move forward with you. Literally can't move forward with you. And when you tell them no, they want to start talking about they got this and they don't got a fucking thing. Confirmation. Fake accounts. Impersonator. Fake accounts, impersonator. Double confirmation about them, you know, not showing you that they're actually still looking to see what's going on. You are the GOAT. Gemini twins moon, the real contract. You are the GOAT. It just came across the screen. 11944 on the time. One more. They out here possibly talking about, oh, you don't got this car and you got it. And they don't know nothing about your life. They don't know. Some of them may have to get admitted into some type of psych ward, it seems. Yeah, that's coming through here. Some of them are literally, they have to be admitted somewhere. Either they're getting locked up or they're going to be admitted somewhere. Because they're out of control. They're out of control. Wasting time, stuck, no changes, limited. Yeah, not moving forward. Whoever this impersonator is behind fake accounts, due to their bad habits, I'm telling you, you're going to be admitted somewhere. Yep. Yep. Photo proof, getting evidence. This could be where the slandering comes in, where they may want to use information or screenshots, but they don't realize that by them doing that, they're setting themselves up for a case. Especially when it comes to someone who is tapped in, doing well in their life. You don't know what type of attorneys or lawyers this person may have that you out here fucking with. Not y'all. But whoever this person is behind fake accounts don't know who the collective is and how well off they're doing. And the whoever this fake account person impersonator is feeling as though they're projecting their lack, their ignorance onto the collective. And the collective is way beyond that. It's to the point that the silence is being backed up by a possible lawsuit. Or they may feel as though, oh, they gonna let that go. The energy of their disrespect still lingers around them. So the law of cause and effect, this is where they are at. Because of this is where they are at, the effect is this situation that leads into this level of consequence. It said one more, but literally rejected. Because they were rejected. And now you're ignoring them. They're wanting to set you up for a bad reputation, but that's not happening because you hurt their ego. They're holding a grudge. Going to people to read it. Don't ever go to somebody. Here's the thing. Someone who is aware of the consequences of this tool of divination should already know that unless you have permission to read on someone, you shouldn't be reading on anybody that you have not been given permission to read on. It's different if a reading is going on for a person, right? And the energy comes up. That's different because the intention is not to read on this person. It just shows up. That's a real reader. It'll give you the information without you even have to ask for the shit. This is because that bad karma card was in reverse. They don't see this shit coming, the consequences of it, which is even more so the reason why I'm saying this person might have to get admitted because psychologically they're off, completely off. Or them being, their psyche being off may have been a result of them, something that they may have done to you or towards you the first time, because this could be a second or third. This is not the first time that something happens with someone in this energy. And they're in their heads about it. Yeah. They see you happy, but they don't want that. Especially if it's without them. Oh well. Oh well. Let's go into a Celtic spread here. What's the current energy here for the collective, beloved? Let's clear this frequency out. Yeah. It's just certain people you don't play with. Especially when you are someone who does things from the kindness of your heart, very forgiving. That's not somebody to play with. They're forgiving because of the power and the protection they have. You know what that means? That when that person decides to say enough is enough, it's on the consequences or the effects of that person who is unconditionally loving, of service, kind to all. The consequences of that is for generations when it comes to that person who mishandled that energy. Especially if you're someone who you cleared your ancestral karma from that possibly happening in the past to another person. And you know what I'm saying? You're the one that was here to clear that out. And you clear it out and somebody comes around with that bullshit. Oh no. You had a whole clean slate right now, and then you got this energy that want to just show up and no, hell no, baby. Mm-mm. No, 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 no. That will not go over well in the spiritual realm, my love. Let's go. Current energy. What do we have? The Three of Swords. Okay. Heartache and loss. The clearing of the heartache and loss. Seeing the lesson for what it is. With patience. Understanding, understanding, and overstanding. We have Temperance here. Sagittarius at the bottom of the deck. Let's see what's the challenge to this energy. Let's see what this is. It's time for this to shift. The keeper of karma, Saturn in the sign of Libra, of relationships. It's time for this to shift. And through that shift, there could be the feeling of some sort of loss, but it's also liberation. What is the challenge to this energy is the Five of Swords. Possibly feeling conflicted or defeated. But have compassion with yourself. But also this could be that projection energy too. Because this is Venus in Aquarius. So when it comes to the way you value yourself and what you connect to on a grander scale of things, or having to do with the collective or groups of people, Aquarius, you're now seeing where you have to cut yourself from situation. It may seem as a loss, but again, a liberation is what it is. And it's clearing you up from self-sabotaging, placing yourself in self-sabotaging events where you're now more aware of, you know what I'm saying, those energies that literally would be a waste of time. Instead of seeing how it will turn out, you nip it in the bud immediately. And this is where you would tell somebody no. And when I tell you, whatever entity or energy that they're connected to that feels as though that they can finesse you, when that energy senses the word no that flows through that person's body, is when you see exactly who the person is, or they're moving a certain way where you actually see who they are. 13013, you'll see that, to the point that they may not, they may feel as though something has taken over their body that caused them to do that, and they may regret what they said. But you have here that precision movement. That triumph is at the base of your reading, at the foundation of your reading. You have triumph. So you're getting through this, successfully getting through this situation, because your next move is precise. The moves you're making to move forward is precise. So with that, you're being able to cut through the situation seamlessly. Cut through and out. Cut through it so you can cut it out of your life. Basically cutting something at the root, because sometimes you may have cut the situation, but it wasn't at the root of it. Now you're getting to the root of it, or you've gotten to the root of it. You got the Four of Cups here, discontent and boredom. This is Moon and Cancer energy. Let's see how that ties in. This could be you reparenting yourself. Let's say you cleared yourself from a mother wound. This is how you may encounter a person who has a similar wound, but because you have been able to handle it and heal from it doing the shadow work, this is where the type of shine that you have frustrates whatever that energy is, and literally causes that frustration and that anger and that reactive way of expressing themselves is basically them glitching out of your reality. Look at that, sacral. Could have to do with a womb healing here. Something having to do with womb healing. You have the sacral chakra, but also connects to your creativity. So the moment you began to step into your creativity is when you really began to see what had to be closed out. Especially if it's no longer in alignment to, you know, where you are at currently as far as your evolution is concerned. Especially in matters of Pluto or Scorpio, where, you know, you go through the depths, you go through the transformation, through the process of the underworld. You shed that old skin so that way you can be reborn and rebirthed. It's part of your destiny here. The wheel. Tell me more about the immediate past with the sacral. Wow. The sacral and the root chakra. That's giving that codependency energy again in terms of coming out of that, with the base chakra having to do with stability, security, being able to feel rooted and grounded in order to create. Let's get one more. Patience is here. Let me get one more here for the immediate past. 133.27. Divine guidance surrounds you now. It was just 133.27. Divine guidance surrounds you now to close out a major cycle. Okay. Okay. Yep. Saturn in Pisces. So I'm getting something that occurred between the 21st and the time between the 21st of May up until the time that Saturn went into Aries, because this is Saturn in Pisces right here. Yep. Having to do with you stepping into your creativity that literally brought you your security, but at the same time, it really uprooted those things that it was time for you to emotionally withdraw from. I'm going to see let's see what's next because of this. Is it what's next that we want to do first? Let me see. It was just 134.34, 717. So let me see something. 3, 4, 7. We're going to go to the advice first. What's the advice for the collective? What's the advice for the collective? That's the 734, that's 7. What's the advice? You no longer have to suffer in silence. This is Mars in Gemini. Well, you have this new moon in Gemini. You no longer have to suffer in silence with this new moon. Speak what it is that you want into your life. Speak it into existence, as well as what you want to remove. You could even do this too. Should we do that right now? No, I'll probably do this after. Anyway, okay. What is the advice? That was wild. Hold up. You could do a banishing ritual where you include a bay leaf or parchment paper and write the words or situation, whether if it's gossip, lies, betrayal, if you know the name, speak it out loud and say, this no longer holds weight in my life. I now release it under divine law. So whatever the situation is, this no longer holds weight in my life. I now release it under divine law. And as you are burning this bay leaf or parchment, just focus on the smoke. You can do this outdoors so that way it goes into the cosmos, nature, so that way it can be handled under divine law. Or if you're doing this indoors, blow the ashes outdoor. And you can also add lighting a black candle. Focus on the flame, absorbing all negative words, energy, and projections, and say, falsehoods is undone. My name is released from webs not spun by me. Okay. The advice is you no longer have to suffer in silence. It's time for your new beginning. What is very intriguing about this card right now is how visible or how noticeable this blue light around this globe is. I mean, it's always there, but obviously it's part of the card. But speak. Say what you have to say. Even if this is to yourself, have a conversation after this with your ancestors, your spirit guides, get your candle, do whatever. But speak it out. Gemini is communications, okay? That's the new moon in Gemini card. Communication is key. So speak it out. Speak it out of your body. Yeah. You don't no longer have to suffer in silence. You have your angels out with you, around you. You got the demon and the angel, because that's the duality. You got them with you. You know what your angel is and the demon that they control. Now we talking about a whole nother thing. If you want to take it up the ante, because this is a moon in a Mercury sign, specifically Gemini, you can look at the planetary hour and do this type of communication during the Mercury hour. You want to get some shit out of your life and handle? Okay. Yeah. One more for the advice. No longer have to suffer in silence. It's time for your new beginning. This is the opportune moment for it. Yes. You plant this. This is the essence of, in the beginning was the word, and the words with God. You're the God. You're the goddess with the word. Use it. Use it. What we have here: obstacles and challenges. Saturn and Leo, trapped in fear. There goes that Eight of Swords. That's what this is speaking to, especially when it comes to any self-sabotaging thoughts from past situations. I kid you not. When you look at that Psalm 109, this is what, again, use your discernment when using that. When you look at the way that shit is written, excuse my language, when you look at the way that thing is written, you're going to see what it means of power of words. So much so, you may even find yourself taking a step back. But those of you who move forward with it and don't take a step back, obviously, because enough is enough. You've been really taking things on, suffering in silence about whatever this is, and shit just getting in the way, where people think it's funny to be playing with you and they think it's okay, but no. What's crowning this energy here? Look at this. Devil card at the bottom of the deck. There's this attempt to keep you strapped and binded. No. No. What's crowning this energy here? I'm hearing, I wish a motherfucker would, from an ancestor, and a motherfucker did. Now that the ancestor having a ball on that ass. Stand your ground. What's crowning this energy? Your higher self is already assisting you, even through this message, of what it means to stand your ground. Mars and Leo, protecting that inner child by using your words to protect you. Mars and Gemini. Telling you. They go to Hierophant. Some people are really about to experience what it means to fuck around and find out when it comes to someone who is literally the vessel of karma, the vessel of divine judgment. Listen, you got the 7 at the top and 7 below, but you got the macro, the major arcana in the foundation of your spread. And you have a minor arcana, which has to do with you standing your ground at the top of your spread. So I'm seeing you as balance in that 8 energy. You're balanced in that 8 energy because you have taken the moment up until this period right here, right now. You have taken the time during this Saturn and Pisces to dissolve whatever beliefs and anything and everything that decides it wants to step in your way to have you believe in something that you know you're not. That ass whooping so severe spiritually, a motherfucker would rather get locked up. That's how serious this shit is. Moving on. That's you. You standing your ground by moving on. But they are not to mistake that silence for non-action. The advice, once again, is you don't have to suffer in silence no more. Because cosmically, you've been down this road time and time again. But now you're here in this position of where you are aware as to the way to move, so that way things are handled once and for all, aka dissolved. Especially of anything that has to do with presenting obstacles and challenges into your life, or having you feel, you know, the wounds that you may have healed from when it comes to your inner child. With this Mars and this Saturn and Leo energy here. You've gone through the lessons, the obstacles and the challenges when it comes to what it means to tune into your inner child and be creative. 144. Don't be afraid of your power. Don't be afraid of your power. Look at that. 8's all over this place right now. The 8 of Pentacles, positive movement forward. What's next here for the collective? Foundations and achievements. Real quick. There's a mixture here of Lilith and Medusa showing up also at the top of your spread with this 13 energy here. Moving on and standing your ground. Let's say you have a Lilith and Leo. You could be moving as that Aquarian energy when it's activated. And with Saturn and Aries for Aquarius, words become reality bending. But overall for the collective, that's the energy that's coming through here. Where you're activating this part of you that was suppressed, or at one point you had to hide. You may come from a maternal bloodline where they had to hide their power, You are an accumulation of that. Yo, man. You are an accumulation of that, and it's been activated. You got birth, death, doula energy coming through here. 529 on the time. What's happening next here for the collective? Your gift and reward, my love. Foundations and achievements, accelerated motion in the heart chakra. You being, foundations and rewards and achievements, you being rewarded by standing your ground, being more mindful as to what it is you're ambitious about. You're ambitious about your purpose. You're ambitious about the protection that you have surrounding you, and it's allowing it to move for you, through you. 7, with the fertility, there's something here about the maternal energy. Speak. Throat chakra. So that way the truth of unconditional love can pour through you and out of you, and that way you can experience that, because you have the spiritual strength. It was part of your destiny to go through these situations, but some of these motherfuckers, they didn't want to take the time out to rest and kept playing with you. There's certainly communication that's coming in here very quickly here for some of you. Well, whoever this message is for collective-wise, that has to do with building a partnership with the 4 of Wands and the 8 of Wands. But also be mindful, don't rush into anything. Don't rush into anything. If you feel as though you're being rushed, because that could also be something that could be triggering, something that comes in and is triggering a lesson you have overcome, where now you recognize that we're not moving in this direction. You're stern about your boundaries right now. And when something shows up, when it's testing your boundaries, you know to say no. Especially with this advice here, with the new beginnings and trapped in fear. It's given the final piece of the puzzle comes in. The final piece of the puzzle comes in, which helps you to get to the root of whatever this is that's been preventing you from your triumph or moving on completely. Moving on, not just from a person, but from an energy completely, because it no longer serves your evolution, because you've emotionally withdrawn from this already. Now, when it comes to your security, your stability, and what you do to create that is going to be effortless at this time. Not Gucci guilty showing up on the screen. One more for what's next. Deception and envy. Okay. Don't deceive yourself when you receive the nudge that this ain't it. Moon in Aquarius. So really utilize this new moon in Gemini to speak whatever you want to get out of your life, but then also speak the prosperity into your life of what you desire. Yeah. Someone attempts to move too quickly to connect to you, because you're their life force energy. You used to be where they actually attained their life force, and now they don't have that anymore. Somebody's about to 255 on this thing that's playing here. Yeah, there was certainly someone that you were connected to, 533, 1733, that you've learned your lesson, you've healed from, and they come back out of the blue, moving as though y'all still in some type of communication, and they move in a way that it shows a person who doesn't have a soul, and that they just feed off of people. Somebody's about to really see the value that you carry in their life. It's too late. What's in the environment here? How's the collective being viewed? What's in the environment? Oh, shit. The heart chakra in reverse. Yeah. Somebody recognized that operator, that life force energy is gone. Their life support is gone. The heart chakra in reverse for the energy in the environment, or whatever this person is, thing is, or the way they see you, they see you as someone that they can no longer connect to. You're no longer their life support. We have power here at the bottom of the deck, the strength card. That's a confirmation, because that's the card that came out in reverse. Well, sideways, with the Ace of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, someone was codependent on your strength, and now that you're no longer there, they're seeing the significance of who and what you are. Not just to them, but because of your purpose and your mission, what you are to the collective as a whole. Shadow. So the shadow aspect. The shadow aspect of the pale horse, which is the death card energy. But it speaks to resistance to change and fear of mortality. This is someone who doesn't even have access to the Phoenix archetype energy, where they're able to go through a transformation. You being around gives them that type of frequency in order to exist in this realm. This shit's getting a little strange, because it's getting a bit strange. Because what? You may have known this about this person, of how far off or far gone they are, but you may have attempted to work with them to break them out and through whatever it was they were going through. But this time around, you really got to see who and what they actually are. As far as with this heart chakra or earth, this is someone whose vessel is being used by an entity that is not supposed to be here. Part of your mission is to encounter some of these energies so they can be dissolved and removed from this planet. Where that vessel or that person, before incarnating or hijacking themselves into this planet, decided they wanted to play that role out. And the way that appears is someone who's not even looking to heal any type of paternal or maternal disruptions that have gone on in their life that leads them into a codependent energy. They just were willing to come into this room and be an asshole. So now they got to deal with the shit. Chase commercial just came up, but it says Sapphire Reserve. There's a message here. Is Sapphire in here? I have to see, because if it is, it's something on that card in this, for this message about what you've been reserving here, collective, that is now coming out. Because when I tell you, this is really given the energy of the way Saturn and Pisces plays out in the physical realm, where whatever was happening beyond this realm or was part of the unseen can now be seen because they hijack in certain people's bodies. But the person that allows their body to do that is because that's where they come from. Yeah, Sapphire is here. It should be. Nah, this ain't no joke. This, yeah. It is here. Mental force. Look at this shit. Sapphire reserve. They were chasing what was reserved within you. They don't have access to that. They don't even have the mechanics within their vessel to be able to handle this type of reserve that you have in terms of this sapphire energy. Dummy. What the fuck did you think? What? It's a Gemini card at that. Shout out to the new moon at Gemini. You the one. Sapphire, mental force, spiritual insight, faith, wise judgment, power and strength, kindness, life of the party, extroverted, motivate, precious, valued, holy, divine favor, and revered. What is this? What do you want to say here to collective? Let me get here. Let me go here. Let me get here. What do you want to say to collective here? Let's go to the Jaguar deck before we go. Oh shit. 5 of Scorpio, thunderstorm, power, destruction, triumph over evil, opportunity to overcome, fierce, energy shift, conflict, out of control. I'm telling you, you have warned this person already. Whatever they did this time, they did that shit before. They was talking out the side of their fucking mouth before. They done this shit before. And you let that shit slide. But they said the same exact shit to you when you told them no. At least a year later, or whatever later is for you, they did the same shit again. But they didn't realize that you're not the same version of yourself that let that shit slide before. Y'all remember the other reading from the other day? Or y'all came out the storm. Keep it that way. No contact. Keep it that way. I mean, do whatever you want to do, love. But I'm just saying. Let me see something. Look at this. Look at this. Gemini, Scorpio, mutable, fixed. It's the type of energy they could have a lot of fixed sign energy in their chart too, whether if it's Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, they don't have to, but they're fixed in their ways. They think they have a certain level of protection, but they don't recognize that wherever they get their energy from, you are connected to a lineage that houses all of that energy. This is an example of someone wanting to use your power and your magic and your knowledge against yourself, against you, what you taught them against you. That's a 8 of Aries, shooting star. Look at that broken heart. Someone you said no to. This could be a third time. Virgo, that's because it's Virgo rising that we was talking about that energy, whether if it's sun, moon, or rising, but it's the Virgo energy that has Saturn in Aries in the 8th house, where their lesson is to surrender control, where they have to learn what intimacy is, but also be able to reveal themselves without losing control. And part of that test of them, you know, getting into the mode of losing control is not getting something their way. But this ain't the time for that shit. I mean, well, shit. I feel as though it is. It really is the time for it, because with their karmic debts having to come to the surface to be alchemized, whether they're able to alchemize it, transmute it, is a different story. That shit is a different story. Look at this. Flow, sovereignty. Look at all the same colors too. You're in a position of being in flow with your sacred sovereignty because you have been able to alchemize that sacred rage. Tell me more about this Sapphire Reserved here for the collective. Tell me more about this Sapphire Reserved. Give us some clarity here. Water. It was in reverse, but it was possible. Oh, whoa, that's that. They attempted to damn you. They attempted to curse you with their words. Not realizing, because water is connected to the sacral, they didn't realize that you have emotionally withdrawal. So there was no plug, an emotional or energetic flow or energetic motion for them to plug in those words for it to have an effect on you. So now that shit has to come back to them infinite fold. Saturn in Aries, but Aries is connected to 9. Or y'all is connected to 9. I'm telling you. The opposite, the reflection of water signs is earth signs. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Then you have this codependency card, which is confirming that this is what they were. They saw you as life support. They saw you as that's grief and sadness here at the bottom of the deck. This is what I'm saying. They're not someone who was intending to, you know, clear out any type of paternal or maternal wounds that puts them into this position of being, you know, codependent. Another reverse card. These cards are not reversed though. Root system. You cut it at the root, babe. You cut it at the root. King Vulture, also reverse, but I'm picking this up as because it was connected to you being in flow of your sovereignty. Here comes the King Vulture removing. That's where the claws come in at, because that's what this card represents. If I'm not mistaken. Or is that the, yeah. No, that's the harpy, but this one, that harpy ego energy. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, it's removing this energy from your gut, because one thing about vultures, they can handle the decay of anything that is surrounding them. They literally protect the ecosystem. You know what I'm saying? So with the King Vulture in reverse, but the colors are connected to you being in flow of your sovereignty, that King Vulture energy has descended into this reality. As a masterful alchemist, the King Vulture has the ability to literally transform death. We was just talking about that. What the fuck? A powerful purifier that sits deep in the jungle. Its ability to remove stagnation and rebalance is vital to the ecosystem of the whole. Known for working deep within the realms of the human ego in its shadow, the King Vulture's medicine is potent when working to clear away versions of yourself that no longer serve, which is In your immediate past, you have done that. The Black Jaguar calls to this powerful ally when an ego death is at hand. I'm seeing someone hold on to, for dear life, to a version, to who they are, a version of themselves, that your presence has literally brought it to the surface to be removed. Somebody's holding on to, for dear life, to that version of themselves. And it's not a version that actually serves them either. Energy hook is here under this here. Whoa, okay. Focus. All right. Collective focus. Yeah, some of these cards are in reverse. Focus. We have one reverse, one upright. We have movement. What I'm getting from this is more so don't, again, the message of don't mistake silence or non-movement for non-action. We have here distorted thoughts and perception. And what we have here, guided. Ooh, in reverse. Okay, so focus with guided in reverse. This is being blocked. This is what's being blocked. Hear no evil, see no evil type energy. This is what's being blocked. This is the intent that they have towards you, to block your vision, to block your voice, to disconnect you from your higher self. But they are being blocked because, for one, let's say at some point in your journey, you had to encounter this type of lesson to come out of it. You've done that, literally, is what it says here with the emotional withdrawal in your immediate past. And because this is not guided towards you, they're going to be stuck in whatever it is that they're doing, while you're moving on because you stand your ground. Let me see. That was what was reserved up until this moment. You now have the spiritual insight, the wise judgment to move forward. Standing your ground, you standing your ground is you moving on from this situation. You keeping it at a point of no contact. It's coming through as a relay where there were 4 parts of you, and this is you're at the part of the anchor leg, which is the fastest. Yeah, it's the fastest on the relay. So this is the anchor leg part of this journey. Well, before Saturn went into Aries, you brought it home. Let's see. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Balloons, freedom, high vibe, ascension, rising up. Come on. Stress-free, independence, letting it go, attaining goals, higher perspective. Yes. 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 They told you it was impossible, that you not being with them, you can't do this, you can't do that, or there's certain things you wanted to do. It's too late for you to be doing. Man, shut the fuck up. You got here fairy tale, the white horse. That's that Christ consciousness energy. That's that purification. Universal archetypes, unicorns and rainbows, happily ever after. This is going to be a great story we tell. One more. A balloon with a hot air balloon. Wait a minute. Yo. Arizona could be significant. The balloons twice. Y'all see how thick this shit is? Let's see. What fell here? I'm telling you. 4 Virgo, handcuffs. Because they couldn't, they anyway. That fell on the ground for a reason. And then the other one was pioneer, bold, true boldness, destination, or bus. Yeah, that's with this. Someone who really I mean, this card has a different meaning to it, but someone misused their true grit and unflappable courage to get beside themselves. Now they done trapped their own ass. Worry beads, corset. Nine of Gemini, four of Aquarius. Worry, fear, and yeah, this, all of this that popped out, that's the energy I was picking up on, where someone is holding on for dear life. You know what I'm saying? To get back with you or to you. If they can't get with you, they want to attempt to, you know, they better not attempt to slander, because this collective, including self, you got 9-4-24. That ass will be serving time for that shit. And then you have tandem bicycles, synchronized alliance, duo, partnership. That's connected to this beautiful energy here. The balloons and hot air balloons, where you're balanced and uplifted, going with the flow of your sovereignty, rising above the situations, a new perspective, ascension. Listen, you got ascension out of these cards a few times, love. Yep. Ashe. This is all a result of what you started, new moon in Taurus. That's 427. Sorry about that. We've been on for a minute now, because now my phone got to get charged. Okay. 427, new moon in Taurus. And now you're cutting out the weeds in this new moon in Gemini energy. 822. Leo season going into Virgo season is going to be very significant for you. Let's see, new moon in Leo. Full moon in Aquarius. New moon in Leo, full moon in Aquarius, new moon in Virgo, full moon in Pisces energy could be of significance here for y'all. 822. But let's continue on with the reading. Wow. He did time. Damn. Let's say somebody went to somebody for a reading about you. That was part of the misreading of you, where they may have, no, they don't know shit about what you got going on, but they picked up on the energy of something you already closed out. That's how that's how the ancestors will fuck up that whole reading. Got somebody thinking, oh, they gonna point with something. You don't know shit. They gonna give you a message about something that person has already overcome, that when the person attempts to come at you with some bullshit, now they gotta handle whatever the fuck they thought was going on with you. Now they gotta live that life. Dummy. What's in the hopes and fears position here? Let's see. Okay, don't fear your spiritual insight. You've been on point. You already know that. Okay, you've been on point. Especially if it has to do with the past lover, Six of Cups. It was part of it at one point. The lesson you had to learn, you learned it. You learned it because it gave you the spiritual strength that is necessary. So Cancer season is going to be very significant on when Jupiter goes into Cancer, where it's exalted or loves to be there with this 6-line energy. But trust your spiritual insight, because it's giving you the spiritual strength to trust your heart and go towards, you know, coming out of situations that no longer serve you, and you're no longer doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, with the wounded warrior energy here as well as of the 9 of Wands. One more. Trust your spiritual insight. It's pure information from your soul. Pure information from your soul, especially with that showing up in reverse there. June 9, 2019 could be of significance as well. Part of your destiny. Let's see. New love. You're on the path of your journey where it's time for love to enter your life. Not that bullshit. What's the outcome? It landed right over here of what you cleared yourself from. You've emotionally withdrawn from situations, rebalanced your root chakra, which allowed you to attain financial stability, emotional stability, so that way you can be in a position of creating. What's this? The outcome. Coño. 1, 2, 3. There goes the solar plexus. We just went over here. It landed right over here. You emotionally withdraw from situations that was blocking out your root and your sacral. And now your outcome is the solar plexus, where you're no longer in a position of guilt. You've cleared yourself from whatever it was that was keeping you in this anger, shameful, guilty state, because it was pulling on your energy. It was lurking in the shadows, but now it has come to light. This is why it's saying don't fear the insights that you're getting, especially through your dreams. Especially when something comes around that you're uncomfortable with. Before you go to bed, talk to your subconscious and tell it, make it clear to me what this person is here to do. Make it clear to me what this person is here to do. And you'll see. You'll see. And let it be a situation where you boldly let a person know, nah, my ancestor said you gotta go. You gotta get the fuck up on out of here. And they get wild and rambunctious and disrespectful. Let me tell you, when it comes to the ass whooping, remember earlier about the ancestor energy talking about, I wish a motherfucker would. You just granted that ancestor's wish by letting the motherfucker know what time it is. Oh, collective ain't got no power. Oh, collective shouldn't be doing cards. Cards ain't real. Motherfucker, you ain't real. You about to see how real these cards is. Gratitude for the cash app, beloved Fatima. Ah, shit. Infinite abundance to you, goddess. Always, always, always. Listen, solar plexus energy. When I tell you I've been in this energy of any motherfucker out here that decides to disrespect the craft of divination, oh, it's time for you to see the wrath. It is time for you to see the wrath. You want to talk about patiently waiting? Saturn is in Aries. Neptune is in Aries. So there is now a new beginning when it comes to the way one connects with the unseen realms, as well as one's ability to utilize the gifts that come with the wisdom that you can gain from Saturn. I've gone through my Saturn return. I have a Saturn in Capricorn. So when it comes to being spiritually disciplined and when it's time to tap that ass, and the way my chart is set up, the commercial literally says when it comes to, it's literally repeated what I just said. Not everything, but it was just on 180.11. Telling you. I'm the type, disrespect this craft. I don't give a fuck who it is. Disrespect what somebody's doing to be of service for the collective, saying this ain't real and that ain't real. Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a walk through the underworld. I'm gonna keep your ass there too. To whom much is given, much is required. I don't move a certain way because I overstand, you know what I'm saying? The cause and effect. But at the same time, I understand what it means to be in a position of non-duality. I guide in the way I guide. But it's for each of y'all to, you know what I'm saying, to take what resonates with you, do your own research, your own self-study, and get to the point of that 13 energy, that non-duality frequency. Outcome. It authority. The Emperor. Aries. Solar plexus authority. Connecting to your divine will. Connecting to the soul, the flesh becoming the soul, which is an immortal energy. It has no beginning nor end. But anything that has come across to disrupt that has an end. And begging for dear life, for that life support energy. That's done. You respect the essence of divination, respect the energy of the divine feminine, especially the dark divine feminine. Never want to test one's power by saying that they don't have power. Oh yeah? People misunderstand that an example of having power is mental clarity. That's simple. In order to become an alchemist, you have to understand the power of simplicity. Because it's in stillness that magic works. Or the essence of effortless flow. Similar to why a sprinter can run as fast as they can. People think that the more that they tense up when they're running to run fast is going to make them run faster. You're going to hit that wall sooner than later. But the more relaxed you are and composed with that form, that's when you'll start to see your speed increase. The moment you can align with the frequency of energy, how fast it can move, it's the same essence as when you see something moving extremely fast, it looks still. Yeah. Yeah. Look at this. The Four of Cups, the discontent and boredom card, temptation, and the throat chakra. There ain't no stopping this while you in your solar authority, while you in authority and in alignment to your soul and your soul's purpose. Anybody that attempts to stop that, they playing with the underworld energy. That's the Sun and Scorpio card. Anyone that attempts to take you off track or distract you, especially when you set that boundary, especially after you said no, they receive the gift of transformation. Whether they can transcend and transmute themselves out of that, as mentioned before, different story. Then you have the Ace of Cups. This is consequences of the Holy Grail. Consequences of disrupting the covenant. There are consequences for disrupting the covenant. And it's confusion. They're placed into a position of confusion. Seven of Cups. And I'm going to show you which cup that they think they got victory. Seven of Cups with the Six and the One of Cups. Look at this. Sagittarius, Temperance energy. The Alchemist card itself. Let me show you. Let me show you the cup that they chose, thinking that they can fuck around, but they actually came out here to find out. Bliss, evening, love. Let me show you this. Let me show you the cup they chose. It was the second to last card with what you were advised to do. Speak it out loud. Whatever you feel as though that's keeping you, you know what I'm saying? That's fucking with your energy. Speak it out loud. Speak it into the ethers for it to be removed. But let me show you the cup that they chose. They thought they was being victorious, right? You see that skeleton head right there? They would have to EID for it. They would have to EID for a victory. They would have to go through a process of transformation to get that victory from you. Because once they do, they realize that the victory is more so them possibly aligning with you, but these energies without souls won't be able to do that. It's wild, yo. Let's get a closing message. All is well. It's done. It's to a point where in the past you may have fixed yourself to have some sort of pity for this energy. Not this, not this time. You did way too much. Way too much this time around. Closing message for the collective. Shadow self, 28. And mirrored souls. This is insane. Soul fragments, balance will be restored, 33. You integrating the shadow with the light of self is where balance is being restored. And the light codes that are happening through these solar flares along with this new moon in Gemini is helping you move forward, especially when it comes to your desire to change. Again, create open communication with your ascended masters. Because for you to have a desire to change, it's because there's a version of you within another dimension, or you know, you stepping into a higher perception of what's going on, that is already existing in that realm where the desired change, the change is already occurring because it's a desire. Because whatever your desire is already happening. You wouldn't have it as one if it wasn't occurring in a different realm. So some of you may want to be mindful of that, of what it is that you desire, especially when it comes to something that your soul has already evolved from, because it can cause a ripple effect in the way that you're manifesting into this reality. You may have to, you know, do that exercise before going to bed, placing your hand on your heart and really asking your heart to express itself to you within your dreams and make it clear. With all of this green here, and this is significant in terms of the heart chakra area. This is coming through as that hopes and fears position. You don't have to hope anymore. Just know, so you can get out of this fear, because it's some sort of spiritual insight that you're receiving that's in connection to you, you know, being well acquainted when it comes to your shadow essence. Look to see what your Lilith is. Get a, you know, understanding of that axis, whatever that sign is. Look to the opposite of what that energy does. Look to the reflection of that sign. So if you have a Lilith in Libra, look to what it means when it comes to Lilith in Aries, as that's the way you'll respond when you're, you know, no longer hiding that energy. Anything else? Let's get a surrender message. What's this that fell on the ground? Eight of Wands, which is in your what's next position, accelerated motion towards foundations and achievements. If it seems as though it's gold, it glitters, but and quote unquote connected to some sort of achievement, does it help you with building your foundation? Does it truly help with building your foundation? What's the surrender message? You may want to go back to the beginning where we discussed the quantum roles, the esoteric lesson, and the metaphysical activation of Saturn and Aries for each sign. It is. It's called Recess. It has magnesium and adaptogens in it. Recess. It's not sweet, but it is refreshing. Recess. Surrender to inner peace. Cultivate inner peace on a daily basis. In quiet meditative moments, focus on the stillness within and enjoy this inner refuge. Others will feel your great vibes too, and your life will flow more easily. You're welcome. Yes, indeed. Let's get one more. Surrender frustration. Frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup so you may approach the situation more calmly. Let's get one more. Surrender comparisons with other people. Keep your eyes trained on yourself. Focus on your own strengths, attractiveness, and power. and surrender to your intuition. Tune into your inner voice. Be aware of any gut feelings, flashes, knowings, or aha moments that come through to guide you. And that's very significant while Mercury is still in conjunction to Uranus, although, let me see, it is in Gemini, but it still has that close orb to it. So it creates those aha moments as well. So tune into your inner voice. Be aware of any gut feelings, flashes, knowings, or aha moments that come through to guide you. Okay? And that is your message. I love you all very much. Have a blissful new moon in Gemini. Be amazing. Be happy. Do you. And whatever they say you can't do, don't even prove to them that you can. Just dust that shit off. Because they're just projecting a part of themselves that they got no ambition for themselves. So they want to, you know what I'm saying? Because when you focus on what you got going on, what you doing, there's no need to, you know? So later.